car manufacturers love to brag about Nurburgring lap times. It's a great way of advertising how much faster their product is compared to others, and in the world of front-wheel drive Nurburgring record times, it's manic. In 2014, Renault set a blistering front-wheel drive time with their Megane RS275 Trophy R, then Honda had beaten it later on with the FK2 Civic Type R. 2 years on, Volkswagen decided to have a go at it with their light and stripped out GTI Club Sport S, and then in 2017 Honda took that record back with the FK8 Civic Type R, which is still now the current front-wheel drive record holder.
And here it is with a blistering time of 7 minutes 43 seconds around the Nordschleife. To put that into context, this is only 5 seconds behind a Ferrari 458 Italia, and it's a Civic. Super impressive stuff, but how does this fare out in the real world? Let's find out.
Now, what's the result in all of this then? So, you've got 3 driving mode settings. You've got Comfort, Sport and Type R, which is the racy setting. Now, in Type R, it's obviously the hardcore setting mode. It ranks up everything like steering, throttle response, drivetrain and the suspension. These seats, you've got these nice snazzy bucket seats which hold you in nice and tight, and the seating position is perfect for a car like this. So the Civic Type R has been an interesting so-and-so over the last few years. EK9 came out, which really didn't take off in the UK, mainly because they didn't sell any of them here. The EP3 Civic Type R, which came in 2001 onwards, was the car. It had a screaming 8,000 RPM VTEC motor. The one following that wasn't so good. The one after that, which is the previous version, the FK2, was okay, a bit better, but it didn't have an independent rear suspension. Pleased to say that this does have an independent rear suspension, and it's just needed in a car like this. You just got so much composure and so much flow with the car. It just allows you to deal with the bumps a bit more as you travel down the road a bit faster. Steering, now the weighting's quite heavy. Off centre it's not bad, but it's not the best. The gear shift though, 6-speed manual gearbox, Honda just know how to get gear shifts right. Even the gear ratios work well too. It's nicely closely matched. The engine's the standout point to me. 2-litre VTEC engine, works with the variable valve timing. Nice crescendo build up of power all the way to the red line. At 3.5 to 4,000 RPM, you just get a kick. And in certain weather conditions, you've got to be a little bit careful because it starts spinning up its front wheels. Is there torque steer in this? No, not too much. But going back to the engine quickly, it's just a revvy, nutty engine. It just wants to go, 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 all the way to 7,000 RPM, and it's unlike any other 2-litre engine about, because whereas most turbocharged engines lose its peak at the top end and starts to come off boost, this just wants to rev, rev, rev. It's just nutty. What's the highlight? Well, you look at this is quite a wide car. It's wider than, say, a BMW M3 F80, and you can place it and thread it down the road like no other. You build a rhythm with this car, and you just end up driving it a little bit too mad. But then that's what you want in a hot hatch. Hot hatches tend, or have to, make you drive it like an absolute wally. If it doesn't, then it's failed. And this one does it super, super well. Suspension. In the Type R setting, it does become a bit firm. In fact, a bit too firm. But the faster you drive it, the better it deals with the bumps, which is a good plus point. Cabin, well, the cabin in this isn't your stereotypical Japanese, just got old sort of buttons. It's very minimalist and stylish, and yeah, it just works well too. There are a few tacky bits, like, you know, the buttons on the steering wheel, which is a little bit plasticky, and the infotainment screen isn't good at all. But overall, everything is where you need it. The button's there to just knock it into Type R or Comfort. The handbrakes are automatic, so it comes off as it is. Not a proper handbrake though, sadly, so none of that yobbishness. It's a nice cabin to live in. As a day-to-day car, I was quite impressed by how practical it was. You can seat 5 adults in it. It's got a big boot. It's still a Honda Civic, which is a good thing.
So most of you might not be a fan of the styling, and I can appreciate that. However, it does have some proper form following with it, unlike the previous Honda Civic where they just bolted bits of metal and yeah, didn't really make much sense. Anyway, see the front splitter? See the front bumper? Well, in between there's a little gap. Feeds air, comes out of the wheel arch, and it cools the brakes. Same with the front wing. You've got these little side fins here. It's not for some weird Japanese show. It's actually there to provide air throughout the side of the car. When you come to the rear, and just like that, we've come to the rear where we meet 2 spoilers. Now I know, it might sound absolutely daft, but bear with me. It's not a styling sake, if that makes sense. It doesn't look like the designers have just plonked 2 spoilers and went, ho ho, big spoiler. No. See those 2 little spoilers? They're called vortex generators. And I know it sounds like something out of a Transformers film, like some sort of creepy Decepticon side, but bear with me. They channel air from the front to the rear where it meets with the spoiler. This big spoiler provides proper downforce for the car, hence why it's got really high cornering grips, hence why it doesn't actually need 4-wheel drive, meaning you save weight, meaning it's engaging to drive, meaning you can actually get a bit of tail out action. So the next time you see a Honda Civic Type R and you're thinking, oh, the designers have just plonked it on there for styling's sake, it's not. It's actual serious downforce and it helps with stability, hence why it got a really good Nurburgring time.
What I do like is the balance. There's hardly any understeer in this car, and there's hardly any torque to. Yes, if you do get on the power a bit too soon and drive it like a wally, it will spin up its insides just that teeny bit. But it's just amazing how front wheel drives have come along from the last 5 years, because 300 horsepower through the front wheels is a lot to ask for. Car's running on Continental Sport Contact 6 tyres. It's a good tyre. It seems to deal with wet weather capabilities really, really well, which is saying something, because the weather we've had today hasn't been particularly ideal, especially some of the wet weather stuff. And it just works super well. It's got enough decent grip. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a super sports tyre, but obviously I'm sure this is developed with the chassis. But again, 3.5 to 4, VTEC kicks in. Does it need 4-wheel drive? Not really. This covers ground so well, especially coming out of inside corners. It just tucks in the inside nose. The differential works with it super well. Yeah, it's great. The steering has a nice speed to it, which is good, because most steering systems now do not have the natural ability to just go around. With this, it's not too quick, it doesn't feel nervous. What I do love is the balance. This car is beautifully balanced for a front wheel drive machine. But again, you just want to wring its neck. The engine just wants revs. Obviously it's not a screamer of the past, but another thing to mention is the brakes. Brakes are superb in this car. The pedal feel especially is really, really good. Rev matching heel and toe downshifts is great too. There is an ability to just do it yourself too, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, that's quick. This is a quick car. This is a very quick car. However, it does have some drawbacks. Number one, you can't individually configure the settings. So you can't have, like, for example, super comfort ride and strong powertrain. that is something that I think is a big shame, because the rest of its rivals, i.e. Volkswagen Golf R and that, you can individually change steering, throttle. I know it does sound a bit complicated to most, but the ride is a little bit on the firm side, but you don't have no choice but to knock it into R mode because you want the super sharp throttle response. So you are in a bit of an Achilles heel there. The styling, I don't mind it too much, but yes, it is a little bit out there. It does get a lot of attention, whether that's a positive or negative attention, I don't know. But I think to some Honda fans, they'll love to look at it. Others will just go, good grief, what the hell is this? But I would never call this ugly. I think it's just out there. It's just a shouty car, and it has no shame about it, if I'm honest. Other drawbacks is the fuel tank's a little bit too small, the infotainment system isn't that great. The engine does want to rev, but because it's mapped so high in the rev band, sometimes you end up dropping a gear too low to try and overtake or to try and pull away somewhere, and you end up getting into the VTEC power band and then end up spinning its wheels, and you end up just going off, and people will just think that you're driving this car like an absolute wally. You're not, you're just trying to overtake someone or trying to overtake a tractor or down a B road. So there are a few drawbacks. The ride is firm, like I said, the infotainment, there are a few other niggly problems that, yeah, is a little bit of a drawback. However, in terms of front wheel drive cars, on sale, this one is definitely the best one out there because of how playful it is and the chassis and the way it just makes you feel. You do want to take it on a track day. It is a car set up for track days. It just feels super lively and super special, and if you grab it by the scruff of the neck, it comes alive. It's definitely a 10 temps car for sure.
Have a look on the video windows on some of the cars tested. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe for more automotive action.